you should feel like, damn, maybe I'm out here tripping, asking somebody to spend, I don't know, $500 on a meal for me on a first date.
I'm sorry. When did that start?
I feel like this shit is recent.
Within the past 5 years or within the past 10 years?
I don't know. Y'all younger than us.
would
What
say
y'all say?
10.
Well, all entertainment has played a big role in the ideologies of people. And now that entertainment, at some point, it wasn't accessible to everybody. Entertainment was primarily a luxury. And then eventually it got into the hands of everybody, no matter if they were 14 or 94. And now we do see an influx in the behavior simply because it is accessible to everybody. When did it start is a different question, but when did it become as prevalent? I think it would definitely have to be when ideologies and behaviors and entertainment has been able to share and push it on a wide scale, nation and worldwide.
So when like, if we can pinpoint it, like, when would it be? Because I think
2012. 2012 is what I would say. I would say 2012 specifically because I remember that was the time where Instagram was out, but it was being pushed. If you didn't have Instagram, by that time, if you didn't have Instagram, you were kind of a loser. But Facebook was cool because Facebook was chill. Twitter was out. People were just talking shit. But then Instagram came where there was only pictures. The only way you can compete with other people's pictures is if you have better pictures or better places, better settings. So eventually, I remember when I first went viral in 2013, it was at a party and I was on stage. And it wasn't even viral, but it was viral. It was probably like 400 likes, which at that time was hard to get. And it was just that we had sold out the show, we sold out the venue, and it was lit. And we had this dope ass picture, me and my homie Quasi and my homie Haas. And I remember at that point in time, we were like, okay, we gotta stay here. And the only thing is you're gonna keep, doubling down on those moments and trying to capture those moments to a point where you had people had Vine. Vine was another big contributor to it too. That's when social media really started taking off, when people started going viral. And then, with that being said, then people started just competing with different types of settings that were typically inaccessible to others.
I think that Instagram also did a good job of getting, businesses to start pushing content and, promoting themselves. So we had other options. It wasn't just Applebee's, Fridays, Red Lobster. Now everybody wants to try that restaurant that they saw on Instagram with the nice pictures and the nice steak, and they got nice drinks.
Yeah, but I'm saying before that, it would have to be that the drug dealers were talking about it in songs. So I'm saying pre-social media, it would have to be the drug dealers talking about the places they went in songs, or not even drug dealers, the rappers, or because I don't think R&B's. I don't remember like soul saying like, oh, we were at
Papado.
Yeah.
Typically, when things affect Black people, it's typically the canary in the coal mine for everybody else. So I don't know if
I was about to say, you got to explain.
Meaning, it's like the
How do you get in there? What's canary in coal mine?
Canary in the coal mine is like, how do you? It's like a sign of something that's going on, and it's like, okay, this is happening. It's like a warning, and we've traditionally been impacted first. And I would say it's maybe because of where we are economically, where we are in the housing market, things like that. But I don't feel like they know first.
This stuff has always been cultural, though. Whatever's been popping was always a place. Like, I'm from New York. The Tunnel was a popular place in the 90s club. Webster Hall,
Speed,
Roxy, all of these places. Even on a teenager level, like the Skate Key was one of the places that you wanted to go to skate. It's just now, instead of word of mouth or by phone, the places are on social media telling you where to go that's popping, and it promotes it for people like you brought up. So now people want to be at the popping place that's $400 for, a table. So that just made it worse.
And the thing, we are natural competitors, and social media was always used for business, and it's really supposed to be, it still is, and I would say 80-20 when it comes to business to consumers. Now you do, like he said, mention, businesses now utilize social media as opposed to 7, maybe 8, maybe 10 years ago, businesses weren't on social media. You wouldn't have found Webster Hall on social media in 2012. But at that point in time, and I just remember from like the journey of an influencer, you know, they were doing so much and getting so much love for relatively nothing. And then it became a big pop. I don't know if it was with YouTube or what, but when you can actually make money by going to places and people started paying you just to come to their event, whatever it may be, then people started to say, well, you know what? I'm already looked at this light. I need to keep that experience and whatever moments that we capture at your event to be equivalent to all the other photos or videos that I already have. Now, anybody else, which everybody became, or everybody, I don't want to say everybody, but a lot of people now have the desire to be a social media influencer. Because whenever people see, same thing with podcasting, whenever people see something is working, they jump on the bandwagon. But now we're all seeing the truth about it. It's not realistic. A lot of people can't last that long. It costs money. It literally, it's not as easy as people think it is, but they're buying into these lifestyles and they're trying to live a life that they are not built to live. And I hate to say this, but I got to quote Future. Because Future said, you're spending all your show money trying to keep up with my image. Right? So these people are getting different types of, advances or sponsorship dollars. And their only thing that they're doing is trying to display that they're as worthy as somebody like him or somebody at his level. And I think that's where we got to this point today, where everybody's doing the most for nothing, ultimately, to start back at the bottom again.
So it seems like we have gone on a tangent. I don't know. I think knowing this piece of information, like if this was, he's been on social media, obviously, but if like the statistics that he gave us, if that is shared like community wide, I would hope that it would like start, it would have people to start thinking about like, what are we doing? And look how we've gotten to where we got so quickly. And then we have to ask ourselves, why are we dating like them? Why are we pushing the provider narrative? Because let's be real, it's both parties. It's male and it's men and women talking about being a provider. I think you also have to consider like, why did it catch on like wildfire? I'm inclined to think that it has something to do with these young women maybe seeing their mama struggle, seeing their grandmama struggle, seeing their auntie struggle. And they're like, why would I waste my time with somebody that's we'll say 7 times out of 10, gonna do me wrong in some regard, and I'm not really benefiting from it. I don't think it's a thing that they necessarily need to be shamed about. I think it's literally maybe an overcorrection, but it's a response to some stimuli.
Yeah, but then
it didn't come out the blue.
But then, and the same goes, and this is why I think it needs to be shamed, because then the same goes on the other side of the spectrum with men saying, you know what, my mom or my dad, they worked, they bust their ass for 30, 40 years, and they got nowhere in life. We still struggled, even though they both worked 40, 50, 60 hours a week. So, you know what? I'm going to just scam. I'm going to just get money faster. I'm going to just sell drugs. I don't want to do the hard working, because I seen my mom work for 35 years, didn't get to retire, and got fired and laid off her job, and now she's still working and she's 60. So now, as a man, he's going to say, you know what? I'd rather risk my life or risk my freedom, selling drugs. We still will shame him, even though it is a response to something that is justifiable to him, but he still deserves to be corrected and told that that's wrong and incorrect the same way a woman is as a response to saying, you know what, my mom did, 7 times out of 10.
Look, you have to think of how pervasive like the drug game has been in our community. Somebody is praising them. It may not be us right here. And let's be real.
Alan,
It ain't just black people. It ain't just black people. Like, we love a hustler movie. We love a drug movie. I love movies about gangsters.
Not your girl.
Oh, I do. I love movies about gangsters. Like how they made their money.
I watched Scarface last night. That's why I be feeling like
I'm actually mesmerized by it because these people, like when you get to that level, these men and some women, they're incredibly gifted. Like the way they were able to move that type of product, like in the 80s and the 70s, like it's a big deal. Like just think if they were doing something else, they would have been probably great CEOs.
So you look at
COOs.
You look at like the business aspect of it though. You don't look at it as
I don't care about the brutality. Like I don't enjoy that part.
Okay.
It's more so like these people, just like the same way people marvel at Rockefeller or no, I'm saying like legit people. Well, legit, but those types of people, you got to think about what it takes to get to that level, and they selling an illegal product. It's way harder to do that than to sell something that's legal. Like I love the story. I love a good drug dealer story, a hustler story. Like I just think it's impressive.
Maybe we're also, I think we like hustlers because people love an underdog story. That's why most athletes, most music artists, whether you're a singer, a pop star, or a rapper, you had an underdog story because marketing 101, facts tell, but story sells, right? And there is more underdogs mentally, and there will always be more underdogs than there aren't, right? Majority of people are born average or below average, right? In terms of living situations. So again, it goes back to selling the dream that you too, you underdog, you can find a way to hustle out of your position by selling crack to your community and live like me.
Is there a movie though like that doesn't show the pros and cons?
No.
Oh, I don't think so.
They all end up in the same way.
That's why I don't mind it. See, rappers, they glorify it and don't really show the negative side. Scarface, we see how that ended. Paid in Full, we see how that ended. So I can understand the whole story if it's not just like, oh, the drug dealer goes off into the sunset with all of this money. At the end of Paid in Full, one gets shot up, one gets snitched on, Scarface gets shot up. It's like it's telling you the pros and cons. You got to watch your back from indictments. You got to watch your back from stick-up kids. It's going to be wars and all of this. It's showing you a realistic POV of what it looks like rather than just 100% glorification. So I don't mind that.
I think we have people that get to take Jay-Z, for example, how his last album, he said, you're hustling for a spot that you don't even own. You're hustling for a corner or you're protecting these blocks that you don't even own. Your grandparents don't even own it. So I think like once you have prominent people constantly pushing that message, then I think that kind of, I think there's a way to reverse the brainwashing. That's what I'm looking for. And I think, like you said, glorifying the pros and cons or whatever the case may be, realistically, there hasn't been a drug movie that we're not addicted to watching or we're not pushing that is recent, because you can't sell drugs the way you used to sell drugs. And I think we're so stuck on watching the story just be told so well instead of coming into nowadays where, listen, everything is surveillanced or surveilled. I don't know if I'm saying it right. You are going to die. You're going to get shot. You're going to go to jail. In our community,
I'm telling.
Or in our culture, we have each example of that. We've got the jail. You've got rappers that tell. You've got calling people a rat is a big thing. You
Not
can avoid
anymore.
all that if you just don't do the dumb shit.
My
But-
thing,
We need an outlet outside of the brainwashing, and outside of sports, and outside of
Yes.
entertainment.
What do I?
but I also think that strategically speaking, playing devil's advocate, but then I'm going to go to another point. They would never show the person who was able to, I guess, work around the system and beat the system, and it would never show them running off into the sunset.
Because they exist.
Exactly.
They definitely exist.
So and they transition.
Sony got away.
Yeah,
they would-
exist.
They're never gonna do that from a a movie or a show perspective. I mean, the rappers, I don't really.
Ghost tried to. He was.
I never watched Power, so I can't tell you.
I watch Power. It's one of my favorite shows. But what they never show you is they never show you the full-on destruction that was caused by that person.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Like, soon as those drugs hit our community, like, even with Scarface, like, he died a horrible death in the end, but it doesn't show you how he got rich and how it really destroyed the black community. Like, show them crackheads and the mother that was getting high and not feeding her kids and, giving her check away or whatever, and her kids was hungry because she wanted to get high. They don't show it on that level of how it destroyed us.
The
I
new show
agree.
does with what's his name?
Idris Elba.
I know what you're talking. You're talking about Snowfall.
But
I'm
saying-
thinking like recently, that's one of the only ones that actually.
That's why I like that show. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
but take it out of shows and just put it on the internet, because you have to go watch a show. You have to go subscribe to a Netflix or whatever streaming service. If you put that on the internet, if you put that in our phones, I think that will be the message.
Well, here's my thing, right? And I wanted to finish the point is that the problem is they don't show on a large platform publicly the people who do beat the odds and the system by doing these, crimes or whatever. And the problem that happens is sometimes these kids know the person, because that person he might got a mansion in the hood. He might still be living low key, but he is actually rich inside of wherever he is. And I wanted to segue that to a point where I actually just saw a post where somebody said all of the women movies that were like the biggest romantic romance subject for women, like the love narrative, all had infidelity in it. The Notebook, infidelity. He lists all the biggest ones. They all had infidelity in it.
Titanic.
Yep, Titanic. All of them are infidelity with the women cheating, right? Majority. And the funny thing is, even from a perspective, if we segue from just selling drugs to just romance in our everyday lives, that's what we believe, and we live upon it. You know what I'm saying? So I do think that when it comes to brainwashing, reverse brainwashing, is it really up to us, or is it up to the people who's going to fund what they want to fund, to push what they want to push? That's my real question.